Hey guys, this is the second video on the common legal pitfalls when investing in companies. Today we're going to talk about contracts, intellectual property, and tax implications. Investing often involves entering into various contracts such as shareholders agreement, investment agreements, deed of ratification and ascension, all kinds of agreements. So here are some tips. Ensure that the terms are clear. Okay, ensure that all the contractual terms are clear and unambiguous. Do not use internet templates when investing in companies. I repeat, do not use internet templates when investing in companies. If you can afford to invest a few $100,000, if you can afford to invest 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, why do you want to save money, on lawyers' fees? Engage a lawyer to do the transaction nicely for you. Engage a lawyer to look through all your agreements to ensure that there's nothing adverse to you. So, back to clear terms. Vague terms can lead to misunderstandings, disputes, down the road. Ensure that your investment agreement has conditions precedent. Conditions precedent are things and matters that have to be satisfied, that have to be done, have to be fulfilled before you hand your money over to the company and they issue you the share certificate. Common conditions precedent can include that all legal or financial due diligence has been completed and is satisfactory to the investor in all material respects. Conditions precedent can also include ways to rectify past breaches of any laws or agreements that the company was or is involved in. For example, if the company was previously involved in certain investigations, you might want the founders of the company, the founders of the company who are selling you their shares or who are trying to promote the company to you, you might want them to give certain undertakings or promises that in the event something happens, you'll be protected. Or if the company was involved in some lawsuit, you might want to get the founders to show you proof that the lawsuit has been settled and discontinued, because you don't want to invest in a company and then discover that it's currently involved in some huge $10 million lawsuit. Another common condition precedent would be all consents, approvals, permissions, have been obtained. A lot of companies are party to certain contracts which require the consent, of banks, of the regulatory authorities, of certain institutions. You want to make sure all this have been fulfilled before completion. Completion is where you hand the check or the money to the company and they issue you the certificate. So this ensures that you are well protected before investing in the company. Number two, ensure that there is a clear exit strategy for you as an investor. An exit strategy would include clauses relating to transferring or selling your shares. A call option. Call option is a right, which usually the founders of the company have to buy over your shares in the event of certain events, certain triggering events. Alternatively, you can also include a put option. Put option means after you invest in the company and you find out that it's not suitable for you, you want to get out. A put option gives you the right to sell your shares to the founders at a certain valuation, a certain dollar amount. Other terms that you should insist on having would be provisions relating to receiving dividends, liquidation preference, and information rights. You want to have the right to walk in anytime to the company and request to see the financial statements, or that you are entitled to the management accounts at the end of every month. Thirdly, dispute resolution. Always include a clause that specifies how disputes will be resolved, whether through litigation. Litigation is suing the courts Arbitration is a less formal kind of dispute resolution, but it's more expensive, although there's a common misconception that it's cheaper. Or mediation, but mediation doesn't really legally settle a dispute. It is just trying to reach a settlement or compromise. So having such provisions can save time and money, if conflicts do arise in future. Let's move on to intellectual property, which is another major area, of concern. Firstly, you need to make sure that the company you are investing in has properly protected its intellectual property. This means that you have to check whether it has registered all its patents, its trademarks, copyrights, whatever. Secondly, check whether the company is infringing or has infringed in the past the intellectual property belonging to other people. IP lawsuits, can be extremely expensive because they require specialist lawyers, and they can actually even halt business operations. In most countries, it is possible to do online searches of a company's trademarks and patents. You should also look at licensing agreements. If the company uses third-party intellectual property, make sure they have the proper licensing agreements in place. Unauthorized use can lead to legal battles and financial losses. Finally, let's touch on tax implications. Investing in companies can have significant tax implications, and it's vital to understand that. Number one, capital gains tax. Be aware of how capital gains tax works in your jurisdiction. Capital gains tax is applied to the profits that you make, when you sell your investment for more than you paid for it. In Singapore, there is no capital gains tax. Second tax consideration you should be aware of, dividends. As an investor who typically receives the company's profits by way of dividends, you should understand how dividends are taxed. In some regions, dividends are taxed at a higher rate than capital gains tax. In certain regions, like in Singapore, there is no tax on dividends. Whereas in places such as the United States, dividends are subjected to a 30% withholding tax, for foreign investors. So in other words, when a US company declares a dividend to its shareholders, and the shareholders live overseas or are considered non-resident, for example, if they pay $100,000 in dividends, they actually withhold 30% of it, and you only get like 70% of the dividends that you're entitled to. Finally, check whether you're eligible for any deductions or credits that you might be eligible for as an investor. So thanks for watching this second video on the common pitfalls of investing in companies and businesses.